What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. First and foremost, I have to say thank you so much to everyone that's been liking, subscribing, and commenting. You guys are amazing. You're the reason that I do this every single day. So, reminiscing on the days of the $19,000 Bitcoin when everything was perfect and we were going to the moon, and now we find ourselves here. However, I will say that the market has gone up $3 billion since this morning. But I don't know. It seems like the overall trajectory is down. Everyone's freaking out. The thing that I found kind of interesting, though, was that Bitcoin dominance actually pulled back a little bit, which is strange because usually in these types of pullbacks, or whatever you want to call them, really, usually Bitcoin dominance tends to increase drastically, where it's only really gone up 2% during this entire situation. So usually people try to hedge their bets into Bitcoin or Ethereum or a lot of the higher cap coins, or just tether it, which is strange because you're not really seeing that right now, which makes me wonder what's happening. Is it just overall panic selling just driving down the overall price? Are people actually physically cashing out? Like, are they pulling it out through Coinbase and through over-the-counter trades and stuff like that? That's a very interesting thing that I wanted to talk about. So before you guys freak out, though, and Bogdanov Thanos comes and just takes all your sick gains away, I do want to kind of go into some discussions about what we saw. So we had Tom Lee from Fundstrat. He was on CNBC the other day. They bring this guy on a lot. He came on a while ago and he had said that Bitcoin was going to go to this price. And then everybody kind of got pumped about consensus and that didn't work. So he says that he's still holding strong to this $25,000 Bitcoin price. He says that, well, he goes, I think institutional investors have gained a lot of interest and they haven't really come into crypto yet because there's still some regulatory uncertainty. But that sort of ultimate allocation into crypto as an asset class is going to be a powerful reason why Bitcoin eventually rallies. Now, just talking about this, I've seen a lot of people speaking about this as well. You know, they talk about previous resistance becomes future support, et cetera, et cetera. So, well, actually, I'm going to go into a chart in a second. But the one thing that he kind of pointed out was that the cost of producing one Bitcoin today is still cheaper than the cost of what Bitcoin is selling for on exchanges. So because of that, this operation is not slowing down anytime soon. Like, I can't stress enough when you look at these guys like Bitmain, Jihan Wu, and all these other guys that have these gigantic Bitcoin mining facilities. They're not willing to just like throw in the towel and let this thing end. And they're definitely not going to end up spending more money on Bitcoin production than actually what Bitcoin is worth. So when you realize the amount of interest that's actually in this behind the scenes, you realize that it's not really that intense of a situation. We're just going through another one of those Bitcoin dips. I mean, guys, I had a video yesterday where I really tried to go into it. I hope you guys had an opportunity to watch that video. It meant a lot to me to really just kind of explain to you my stance on it, because I've been through this. I've gone through this. And honestly, I've gone through way worse than this. I mean, actually, if anyone that was really here for the January to now event with that insane 70% pullback, that was crazy. So if you survived that, anything else shouldn't be an issue. But here's the thing right here. So, well, let me zoom out for a second. So I found this on Twitter. This is from the Crypto Fam. Now, I've never followed this account before. This was kind of just shown to me by somebody else. So I started looking at this, and you guys know I'm not a huge fan of TA. I don't really follow TA. To be completely honest with you, if you were paying attention to technical analysis this whole time, nobody was calling Bitcoin to fall this low. I mean, it literally fell out of the channel that everyone was focused on. So because of that, I'm more of a fundamental analysis type guy. But I do have eyes and I do have a brain, and I can look at things and think about them and deduce conclusions. And I have to say, this individual pointed out a very interesting pattern that you can't deny is repeating itself. So I want to just zoom down. This is the one that I really wanted to point to, was number 5. So they say each of these drives down has followed a very similar pattern. So actually, let me zoom back in so you guys can see this. All right. So basically, now this is recently, and I want you to see what this is doing. So look at this. So you have the pump, right? Then you have the orange line representing a fake out dump. Boom. And then it rallies back up to a failed rally, to which it then dumps again. So it's basically almost making like this letter M. Now, you can't deny this. I mean, this is on the chart. So look, you have this one right here happening in December, fake out up there, January, boom, we come down to February, right? That was the biggie. That was the bad one. Now we come back up. We kind of have that fake out dump, then we have that failed rally, and then boom, we come down again, except this time we don't touch as low as where we touched the previous time. And now we're finding ourselves again in the same situation where we had that rally, the fake out dump, the failed pump, and we're sitting right here. Now, if you do follow this chart, which looks like it's a pattern that's clearly forming, we should touch around. Now, like I said, I don't know, but if you look at this, it says we should touch around a $7,000 Bitcoin, where at that point, we'll rally back up, assumably follow the same pattern again until we find ourselves right here in this wedge, which is basically saying mid-July, or excuse me, mid-June to late June, or sometime between June and July, we should see a severe shift in these markets, hopefully up. But that's what they're saying. So I would think that maybe those investors that are kind of on the sidelines waiting to come in, this might be the point that they're waiting to come in at. I'm not too sure, but it looks very convincing, and it definitely makes me feel better because I do like to see these patterns, and they make me, I don't know, it makes me feel more like confident in it. Like I can visualize it, I can see it, like, okay, this makes sense to me. It's not like, you know, throwing a dart and I don't know, we'll see what happens, right? So, I mean, let me know what you guys think about that. I will drop a link in the description of this. I thought it was a really good detailed explanation to kind of what's been going on as far as TA is concerned. So another thing too is you also had the US government opening criminal probes into Bitcoin price manipulation. So this report actually came out of Bloomberg, although I am reporting this off of CCN. So it says Bloomberg is reporting that the United States Department of Justice is working alongside the CFTC to focus on illegal trading activities in cryptocurrency markets. Specifically, the investigation is narrowing in on spoofing, a form of market manipulation wherein traders enter a flurry of false orders to deceive other market participants into buying or selling, as well as wash trading, wherein traders sell and buy with themselves to purport heightened market activity in order to stroke confidence among other investors and lure them into the market. News of the criminal investigation, now here's the interesting part, coincided with a decline in Bitcoin prices dropping 5% in a 90-minute period to hit a low of 7,260 this month. So there was a little bit of conspiracy on this. So 2,000 coins sold at market 15 minutes before Bloomberg published article, U.S. Justice Department opens criminal probe into whether traders are manipulating the price of Bitcoin, published at 4 a.m. Eastern time, just in time to be viral for the U.S. Open today. So they say here that essentially this is when the article was published. So the whole joke is, yo dog, heard you like market fraud, so we frauded the markets before an article on market fraud. I don't know. I don't know about that. We know there's a lot going on. And the one thing I wanted to talk about too was this how markets are manipulated that came out by DataDash. Now, this was a really great video by DataDash. It was really different. I just have to shout out to Nicholas Merton over there because this was a very well-produced video, very informative. It definitely goes into a lot of how market manipulation is with, you know, they increase the volume, and there's so much stuff in here. I can't even go into it. So you guys should definitely check this out if you're interested in trying to understand, you know, how these markets essentially are manipulated. It was really great, and kind of reminds me that I need to get myself a video editor so I can start doing fun things like this and get away from the green screen once in a while, you know? So thank you, Nicholas, for that one. That was really awesome. Now, guys, did you see, so you know who Craig Wright is? So he was the guy that everybody deems as fake Satoshi because he was claiming that he was Satoshi Nakamoto a while ago. So there was this Transform Africa event, basically the summit that was happening, and he was a key speaker, and a lot of people are kind of pissed off because they said he came across a little bit arrogant when he was talking. So like, here's a clip right here, just like listen to this real quick, how he basically says that he has more money than the entire country. So
country to be more, or you can wait and hand money to a whole lot of people. And I'll say this quite frankly because I've got more money than your country, so I'm not going to ask for anything. I don't want your investment. I don't want, like Stellar and everything else, to be handed money. I don't really care. I'm just going to develop solutions, and they're going to go out there and they're going to be created and they're going to be used because we can.
Well, anyway, I mean, thank you, but at the same time, that's like super like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I appreciate you're trying to do something nice, but that just came across as really cocky and arrogant. And then there was this other thing that kind of came out too. I don't remember what it was. He was having a discussion and some stuff got up and he walked off or something like that. So that was basically what was going on in that. And one other of our favorite crypto celebs, I suppose, is John McAfee. So don't think about stealing boss's Bitcoin private. McAfee Elite Security Force. So does this mean that McAfee is he like the president of Bitcoin Private now? I don't really know what's going on with that. So while we're on Twitter, let's also talk about some tech news, guys. So you guys know I love my AMAs. We have Genaro Network doing a cooperative AMA with Zilliqa, talking about their recent technological collaboration in full detail. Get involved. I will drop a link in the description, guys. Those are always excellent opportunities for you to have that chance to really get involved with the team, ask them all those big questions. Also, while we're in Twitter world, I just wanted to talk about how I found it pretty interesting how the Big Bomb Eco ICO hasn't even started yet, but yet the token has already been listed on IDEX. It's pretty interesting, guys. I've never seen that before. So you can see it's listed, but they haven't even done the ICO yet. I did do an interview with the guys. It's pretty awesome, but yeah, that's just really weird. Just kind of throwing that out there. Does anybody know, is that just kind of a placeholder or what's the deal with that? So some other big news today that you've probably heard a lot of people talking about. If you haven't, let's just quickly refresh it. So you have Coinbase acquiring the ERC20 focused decentralized trading platform Paradex for an undisclosed sum in a continued push to expand its crypto offerings. So this acquisition will allow Coinbase to expand the cryptocurrencies that investors can trade in to include a slew of ERC20s. Now, they already came out and said that they were planning on having a bunch of ERC20s on Coinbase upcoming, and that comes in with a lot of that speculation with the 0x Brave browser basic attention token, right? So unlike Coinbase, which keeps its customers' tokens in their custody, Paradex, being a decentralized exchange, allows traders to buy and sell digital assets directly with one another via their own Ethereum-based wallets. Coinbase hopes to be able to bring Paradex to the United States. Why am I not surprised about what I'm about to read? But must make some changes to adhere to compliance guidelines set by U.S. regulators. Of course. Why would it ever be simple in the U.S.? After making some product enhancements, we initially offer this experience to customers outside the U.S. and eventually to U.S. customers after we implement changes. All right, well, that's good. But also, on a side note, they have changed to Coinbase Pro. So if you currently have a Coinbase account, by default, you have a GDAX account, which means by default, you have a Coinbase Pro account, so you can go to pro.coinbase.com. So I just wanted to really quick talk about some of the upgrades and some of the things you can expect to see when you go into this new site. It says all transactions and balances from GDAX will automatically appear in Coinbase Pro, a completely redesigned platform that will make the trading experience easier and more intuitive, simplified deposit and withdrawal process, improved charts that will allow customers to easily scroll and access historical data, and a new consolidated portfolio view called My Wallets that lets customers easily see an overview of their account orders and balances. So just so you guys know, GDAX and Coinbase Pro will operate side by side until June 29th, which will actively be mirrored on both. After the 29th, all customers will be seamlessly rolled over to Coinbase Pro. So that's basically that news coming out of there as well. Let's see what else we got going on today, guys. Oh, so this is a question that so many people ask me. Everyone's like, where do you get your information for airdrops? How do you know? And, I try to get them out as much as I can, but sometimes I do miss them. I'm not perfect. I don't catch every news article. I don't know everything that's going on. So I'm going to drop this in the description for you guys, because these are 6 platforms that are really good at letting people know about airdrops. So you have 99airdrops.com. I actually like that one a lot. I've spoken about that. You have Alert Airdrop, Coin Airdrop, Airdrop Paddock, and then you have Crypto Airdrop, which is a Twitter channel. So I'm going to drop a link for this so you guys can stay up to date and do all the research on these upcoming airdrops, because who doesn't love free money, right? So also, I wanted to just talk about this article real quick. I'm not going to go into detail because it really doesn't require me talking about it right now unless you're interested. But for those of you that are concerned about how the NEXO dividends are actually going to work, there is this release that just came out. And you can go in here and it explains everything. It explains the requirements, the NEXO tokens, the dividend distribution, etc. So you guys can come in here and have a look at that. I'll drop a link in the description for that as well. You also have Ontology Foundation and Neo Foundation to co-fund a joint task force. Now, not that anybody's surprised that these two projects are working together, clearly, but The joint task force is made up of 10 people, most of whom are core developers from Ontology and Neo Global Development, along with some select community members. Some of the things they're going to look to tackle, include API standardization, which, you could look down here, explore and realize multiple use cases, standardize addresses, etc. And then shared smart contract ecosystem to adopt Neo Virtual Machine as the sole platform to run smart contracts, to conduct R&D on high efficient native contract mechanisms, develop Go compiler and development environment application in Neo VM. So you guys who read through this, I'll drop a link if you're interested in that partnership as well. And also, so we have this. So Bitcoin Gold got hit with a double spend attack. So what's up with these attacks lately, guys? Yesterday we have the Verge situation going on. Now so at first they were saying it was a 51%, then they said it was a timestamp thing, so I don't really know what was going on with that. The only thing I do know about Verge is at this point, it sounds like a pretty scary crypto to be in, especially like having a large holding with all these attacks that are happening on it lately. But then again, even things such as Bitcoin Gold are not safe themselves. So after gaining control of the network on the Bitcoin Gold blockchain, the attacker began depositing Bitcoin Gold at cryptocurrency exchanges while also attempting to send the same coins to a wallet under their control. Ordinarily, the blockchain would resolve this by including only the first transaction in the block, but the attacker was able to reverse transactions since they had majority control of the network. Consequently, they were able to deposit funds on exchanges and quickly withdraw them again, after which they reversed the initial transaction so that they could send the coins they had originally deposited to another wallet. Dude, that's so diabolical. So Bitcoin Gold's developers advised exchanges to address the attack by increasing the number of confirmations required before they credit deposits. So they were saying that the blockchain data indicates that the attacker successfully reversed transactions as far back as 22 blocks. So they're encouraging them to raise the block confirmation for Bitcoin Gold to 50 blocks. That's kind of a lot. 50 blocks? I mean, it seems like a while to be waiting, but I guess if you have to do it for security, right? So also, let's talk about some advancements. Let's see what's going on. So you have VTT Technical Research Center in Finland and Streamr, who I just spoke about the other day. They have the ticker DATA. So they've developed a prototype adhesive ID tag based on blockchain technology, which enables valuable goods to be protected without revealing their location. Possible applications could include electronics, jewelry, and caviar. Yeah, so that's basically that, guys. That's basically that. So let's talk about innovation. Let's talk about moving forward. So you do have PayPal saying, we'll definitely support Bitcoin if it becomes a better currency. Their problems are everyone's problems, the same concerns that they have. Price volatility, what happens if the network gets congested and fees get high and all this other stuff. So hopefully things like Lightning Network and these other advancements that we're coming out with later, maybe second layer solutions, maybe hopefully PayPal will then be interested in using Bitcoin. So you do have IBM, so they plan to put together a research team focused on blockchain projects, artificial intelligence, and the Internet things, and they're looking to find a lot of these developers and get this team from France. So that's more coming out of IBM as well. You also have American Express announcing that it's integrating blockchain technology developed by Hyperledger, to allow merchants to design customized offers for Amex card holders in order to increase customer engagement. So there you go. More blockchain use cases as well. And on a kind of a funny, this is sort of a funny note. So you have this AI compilation that was published on YouTube that used pre-existing Bitcoin explainers to come up with its own basic stage training on Bitcoin. And it has basically resulted in a complete disaster. They tried their best. They tried to get this AI to put together the best explainer video that it could come out with, and it just turned out to be honestly one of the most hilarious videos that has come out recently. So created by the Botnik Studios, which describes itself on Twitter as a human-machine creative force, the YouTube video is a voiceover of the text generated by an AI that used predictive keyboard trained on dozens of Bitcoin explainers. Now, just for example, listen to some of these things it says. It says, one benefit of Bitcoin is that you can upload a version of your future self on the darknet, but it will kill your retirement account because it is over 1,000 years old. It also says, caution, the last time I mined a fresh Bitcoin, billionaire killer Mark February tried to patent my life. So if you guys haven't seen that video, just go check it out go check it out right now. It's Bitcoin as explained by AI from Botnik Studios. Really freaking hilarious, guys. So that being said, not too much really going on today. Obviously, we're having another one of those just days in crypto, just kind of sideways. I'm trying to find that news though, trying to still have a good time, guys. I do have some interviews coming up on the channel. Got some exciting stuff. Got some people. A lot of things coming out. I don't want to spoil it. Don't want to spoil the fun. Don't want to give it all away right away. And I just want to say thanks again to everyone that's been coming back to my channel. You guys are awesome. My name is K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto and peace out.
By now, you've heard of Bitcoin, the most valuable form of electricity. But what is Bitcoin? Is it replacing gold as the most important big deal in history? To understand how Bitcoin transactions are created, randomly pick a number between 1 and 30,000. Now spend that amount of money on Ethereum. This is known as hashing the code to get some of that Bitcoin. Joe has become popular by typing so much that he is now worth around 500 million Bitcoins. If Alice wants to make huge numbers of money from Joe, Alice can use techniques from calculus to do things like identify 4,096 pizzas and then compute them into her desk drawer. Joe has become polluted. Joe must now leave the public for a full year and join his attorney, Michael Marcovici. For clarity, this represents 128 stocks of money. This money is converted to viruses living on Alice's DNA. This virus allows the CIA chief of transactions into my brain. This is my brain coming online as I thought about Bitcoin mining, and I knew it was wrong. Despite the risk, one benefit of Bitcoin is that you can upload a version of your future self on the darknet, but it will kill your retirement account because it is over 1,000 years old and has a taste for expensive silver keyboards. To gain access to the blockchain, you can install exploit.bin, and it will remind you every day of your biggest nightmares. The most popular form of Bitcoin is the Wild Richard. It can be used to pay for counterfeit coffee and other forbidden merchandise. However, I guarantee you can make a quicker fortune selling the private chat of a federal judge to my grandchildren. Caution: the safest way to protect your Bitcoin wallet is simply to lose it. Just remember the Bitcoin password, pubkey hash at Bob's, and you will get a good deal. More caution: the last time I mined a fresh Bitcoin, billionaire killer Mark February tried to patent my life. This was a very basic stage training on Bitcoin. To learn more about how to hack the next big wave of money, I teach a masterclass on top of the shortest mountain in China. Thank you all for your email addresses. You may now unplug the internet.